The context is Jesus is talking to Peter after his resurrection, after Jesus' resurrection. He's talking with Peter. And he says in verse 18, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said unto him, Follow me." Let's turn our time over to Gary.
Do you like to follow others? I was looking in the dictionary to see just a little more accurate definition for follow. There's 24 definitions of follow. And I thought, wow. So I was looking through to see which most accurately fit, and there's several of them probably would fit what I was looking for. Following is not necessarily our favorite thing. When I was a child, like to still think I am, following was what everybody else did. I was going to be independent. So when you go down the trail, there were things to see. So you'd take little side trips, and, following something is too controlling, isn't it? I mean, controls your pace, controls your direction, controls conditions. Ever follow a pilot car? Well, it's a good thing you go to a construction zone, you stop and you wait, and I've waited as long as 20 minutes waiting for the pilot car to get back. And some of those, and then you follow this pilot car, and the pilot car goes in this lane and goes in that lane and maybe takes a little detour. And the good thing about following the pilot car, you do get to the place where the construction zone ends and you get on with your trip. It's a wonderful thing to follow a pilot car, but it is restrictive. You're limited to the pace the pilot car goes, and it's way too slow. And you're going in the direction, and of course, you can't make any side trips. They're just not an option. Peter was more of the independent. I can relate to him quite a bit in that. Let's turn in the Bibles to John chapter 13. John chapter 13, and starting with verse 31. Jesus was at the Last Supper. Judas had just left the room. Disciples were thinking, well, he probably went out to purchase something. And Jesus says, "The time has come for the Son of Man to enter into his glory, and God will be glorified because of him." Now they thought, that's good news. Because if Jesus is glorified, surely his disciples, his best friends, are going to be right there a part of that. And God will be glorified because of him. And since God receives glory because of the Son, he will soon give glory. He will soon give glory to the Son. "Dear children, I will be with you only a little longer." That was the shocker. Jesus had told them several times already that he wasn't going to be with them, but they weren't listening to that part because that didn't fit their plans. It didn't follow what they wanted. Another definition of follow, to have an idea and to go with that idea. Just like Tuesday follows Monday, which follows Sunday. Well, that's one other definition. "Dear children, I will be with you only a little longer, and as I told the Jewish leaders, you will search for me, but you can't come where I'm going. Now I'm giving you a new commandment: love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." Peter wanted to stay with Christ, so he asked, "Where are you going?" Jesus replied, "You can't go with me now, but you will follow me later." Now, if that's not confusing, mystery. What? I can't go with you now? Where are you going to go that I can't follow you now? But follow later? I don't think Peter understood that part of it. He certainly didn't think through that. So he says, why can't I come with you now, Lord? He asked. I'm ready to die for you. Jesus answered, die for me? I tell you the truth, Peter, before the rooster crows tomorrow morning, you will deny me 3 times that you even know me. Now that was a puzzler for Peter. How couldn't that be true? He was ready to die. So how could Jesus just completely turn that around and say, you have no knowledge of what's going on. You don't know where you're going, but remember, you will follow me later. Well, back to the text this morning. The whole chapter of John 21 is really important about the reinstatement of Peter. Just as Peter denied Christ 3 times, Jesus asked him again if he loved him 3 times. And the 3rd time, Peter was hurt in verse 17. That Jesus asked the question a 3rd time, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. I tell you the truth, when you were young, you were able to do as you liked. Do as you liked. You know, the one thing about following other people, you don't do as you like so much, unless you like to follow people. You did as you like. Whatever whim, whatever fancy, whatever opportunity came along, you had the opportunity to go elsewhere. Take these side trips. Go down new and interesting ways. But to follow Jesus, when you are old, you will stretch out your hands. Others will dress you, take you where you don't want to go. Jesus said this to let him know what kind of death would glorify God. Then Jesus told him, follow me. Before it said, later you will follow me, and now Jesus is now giving him the command, follow me. You know, when you're following someone, you're not going to get lost. When you're following someone like Jesus, you're going to find the way, the truth, and the life. Well, Peter again was still in his bad habits of questioning. Is it wrong to question? No, it's not wrong to question. But sometimes Peter, as well as some of the rest of us, maybe ask too many questions. We're not ready for the answers, and so we don't like what we hear. Well, Peter says, he turns around, he sees John, and he's really interested in who else is supposed to follow, who else is supposed to be a part of this thing. What about him? What about John? What should he be doing? I like this reply. Jesus replied, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? What is that to you? Focus, Peter. Focus on what I'm saying. Follow me. That's what's important. Don't worry about John. Don't worry about these side trips. Don't worry about this devious new theology that comes up. No, focus on following Christ. That's what you need to. Don't try to prove these other guys wrong. Don't be worried about what everybody else is doing. Focus, Peter. Follow me. Well, rumors get started, and people were thinking that John would live forever. He didn't, but that's not what Jesus was trying to say. He wanted Peter to focus. Psalms 81:13 says, oh, that Israel would follow me, walking in my paths, listening to me. 1 Kings 9:4, follow me in integrity and goodness. We went on quite a number of tours while we were in Germany and in Italy. There's a tour guide, and the tour guide was very controlling. The tour guide was going on his pace, and you either had to stay with him or miss all the good information, because there's so many things to see. You wanted to spend a little extra time here, spend a little extra time there, and then we miss all the wonderful information the tour guide was giving. Well, some of those places, if you didn't follow the tour guide, get lost. A huge place. So it was to our advantage to follow the tour guide. Jesus says, my sheep listen to my voice. He also says, I know them, and they follow me. So what is the lesson for us? We need to be following Christ. We need to be focusing on me. Peter was in prison. Things weren't looking very good. He was chained to a couple of guards. Angel came into the cell, said, Peter, put on your coat and follow me. And this is the only recorded instance that I know that Peter didn't have a rebuttal question. Why do I need to do this? What about this? What about that? No, Peter probably had learned his lesson by this time. Angel says, follow me. Angel says, pick up your coat, put it on, and follow me. That's exactly what Peter did. And out of the prison they went. Well, if we follow Christ, we're going in the right direction. If we follow Christ, we're going to do like it says in Luke 9:23. You must give up your own way and follow Christ. That's what it's all about. None of this other things that is our own way, our own thinking, our own possibilities. We like to think we're educated. We like to think we're logical. We like to think we're a good discerner of options, right? Jesus says, real simple, just follow me. I'll guide you to life. You don't understand now, but later you will understand. You don't, it would take hours to explain it. Just follow me. Can you imagine Peter getting into an argument with the angel there in prison? Oh, but I've got chains on. But what are the guards going to say? But what is the magistrate going to say? What is the jail keeper going to say? But what is the judge going to say if I'm not here waiting and ready? Peter was ready to follow. The angel says, get your coat, we're going. Peter was going. That's where each one of us needs to be. Oh, but I've got family, but I've got a job, but I've got this, but I got... You know, the Lord is coming soon. And he says, follow me. I've got a home prepared for you. Are you willing to go? But I've got appointments to attend to. I've got things to do. I've got people I've got to take care of. People are counting on me. And Jesus says, follow me. Can we trust him with that? Can we allow him to guide us? We hear his voice. Yes, following him will be a little bit controlling, but eternal life is worth it. He's going to control the place. He's going to control the direction. He's going to control the conditions. But it's what we always wanted forever and ever. We can be controlled by Christ and still maintain liberty and love, because that's what it's all about. We're going to have the service of communion, and that's all